So Nick has shared his data with me. I clicked on my shared with me folder right here, and you can see that today I've got from Nick Geddes, I've got exported data.csv. Now, I want to make a copy of that and then work from that copy, right? So what I'm actually going to do first, because I may have more exported data titles in my Google Drive, I'm actually going to rename this. I'm going to right click it or two-finger touch it, rename. And then in a moment, it's going to allow me to rename it. I'm going to rename it Acceleration Lab Data. And I want to keep that .csv on the end of it. There we go. So I renamed that, and now I'm going to add that to my drive, or even just make a copy of it here. Oh, it says I'm offline again. All right, I'm back online. So now what I'm going to do is make a copy of this. Okay, I can add it to my drive, or I can just make a copy, whatever. When I make a copy, it's going to say copy of acceleration labdata.csv, show file location. Let's just do that, and then I can find it easily. Okay, it's in my drive in the root folder. So I'm going to find that now. I got lots of stuff here. I scroll down here. It should be here somewhere. Copy of acceleration labdata.csv. There it is. So now I'm going to click on it. Sometimes it's going to try to open it in an app other than Google Sheets, like this. That's okay if it does, okay, because it gives you the option of opening with Google Sheets. That's what I'm going to do. So when I click on Open with Google Sheets, I end up opening it into a Google Sheet, which is what I want. Now we can see that Nick in run 1 doesn't actually have any data. So clearly that's not the one that he wants to use. I'm going to delete all that, and I'm going to delete all that by just highlighting the column headers right up to row 2 there. I don't need the date and time in row 2 either. Right-click it, or for you guys in your Chromebooks, it would be two-finger touch. Delete those columns. And now I've got, looks like run 2 probably isn't the one you want either, is it? Nick, which one did you guys decide to use? Run 2? Okay, that's fine. Just means that you have some zero data that you must have collected data before you started moving. That's fine. So I'm going to delete run 3, and I'm also going to delete, even in run 2, I'm going to delete the force, because I don't want the force. Actually, force and acceleration. Force and acceleration. Delete those columns. And I'm going to delete for run 2, acceleration, angular velocity. I'm going to delete everything else. So I'm only left with the 3 columns now. Right-click that, delete those columns. And now I'm left with only 3 columns, right? Time, position, and velocity. Does it make sense? Now what I'm going to do, I want to plot my position time graph and my velocity time graph. But what I'm going to do is actually create a new table. Not that you're going to put into your lab. The table that we have here is what I'm going to put into my lab. A 3-column table, time, position, and velocity. But to plot time and velocity, we want to have those beside each other in the table. So I'm going to highlight this column, right-click it, copy it, and then go over here and paste it. I'm going to highlight column C, which is velocity, right-click, copy, and then I'm going to paste it. And now I have another column, sorry, I have another table with time and velocity. Now time and velocity are beside each other, right? This makes it easier to plot that velocity time graph. Now, watch this. When I go to plot position time graph, I can just highlight those over here because time and position are beside each other. But when I go to plot time and velocity, I'm going to highlight them over here. That make sense? So what I'm going to do first is plot my velocity time graph, because that's going to tell me what data is good data. Let's highlight all of that data, time and velocity. And now I'm going to go, like last time, insert, chart. And it's going to give me a bar graph, or they call it a column chart. Oh, it gives me a line graph this time for some reason. Doesn't matter. It's not what I want. I want the scatter plot. So I scroll down here. I pick scatter plot. That looks pretty good. Now there's a lot of data that I don't want here. You can see that my title is perfect, velocity versus time. Velocity on the y-axis, time on the x-axis. Excellent, I don't have to do that. If it doesn't give you the right title, you have to adjust that. But this data over here, I don't want. So what I want to do is just bring my mouse over here, hover on top of this. It looks like from 1.4 seconds up to 1.4 seconds, I don't want. So I'm going to highlight those rows up to 1.4 seconds. And then I'm going to delete those rows. Now if I go back up here, my graph should look nicer, and it does. But you can see here, after about, looks like, if I hover on this, it should give me the, 1.85 seconds. See that? From about 1.85 seconds on, I don't want that data either. So I'm going to go over here, 1.85 seconds, highlight all that data past that, right-click it, delete those rows. Now I go up there and look at my graph now. It's a beautiful velocity versus time graph. I'm going to insert my trend line, customize, series, scroll down, trend line. It's a linear trend line. And then I'm going to go down here, label, use equation. There we go. Make sense? Now that's my velocity time graph. I can plot my position time graph now as well. I'm going to do that by highlighting time and position, insert chart. That's a bar graph. It's not what I want though. So I'm going to change that to my scatter plot. Looks good. Position versus time looks excellent actually. Let's go into customize, series. You want your trend line here. What trend line does it give me? That's a linear trend line. Is that the one I want? No, that's not even close, right? So let's try different options. Let's try logarithmic. Nope. Let's try exponential. Well, that's better, but that doesn't look great, right? Let's try polynomial. Ooh, polynomial. Look at that one. Who's taking Math 20? Who's taking Math 20 right now? You guys learned about polynomials in Math 20? No? Y is equal to ax squared plus bx squared plus c. Anybody ever seen that? Yes, Martin? Y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. What's the equation that describes the acceleration here? D is equal to 1/2 at squared plus vit. Right? That's a polynomial equation, right? Go figure, it's a polynomial that we're going to select to represent the trend line here. That make sense? Now I got my two trend lines. Sorry, my two graphs, my two trend lines. I don't have my equation here on this one because I don't need to display an equation for this one. That's it. Copy them over into your lab. You're good to go.